Hi everyone, Mike here. And today I'm going to share with you 5 super easy 1 or 2 step Keyboard Maestro macros to help you get started using Keyboard Maestro. A lot of the content on this channel is more intermediate or advanced, and I wanted to make sure that there was some content here to help people just getting started. But before I get into that, I want to share a couple updates with you. Since I published the last video, we crossed 200 subscribers on the channel. So I just wanted to say welcome to all the new subscribers and thank you to everyone who has ever clicked on that subscribe button. I greatly appreciate that you have given me some space in your subscriber list, and I'm very glad that you're here. Thank you so much for clicking that button. In addition to the subscriber increase, I also was fortunate enough to have 2 different guest experiences that I wanted to share with you in case you were interested in hearing some more from me in a different venue. So the first one was a guest speaking experience on LearnOmnifocus.com. If you're not familiar with Learn OmniFocus, it is a very powerful community and a ton of resources. It is a paid membership site. I have paid for it in the past. When I first started, it was a great way for me to start learning OmniFocus, surprise, surprise, and it was very valuable, and it was very cool to kind of give back, to be invited to come back and to talk to people about how I have things set up in OmniFocus. I shared some automations that I use for OmniFocus as well. So the whole thing, my whole talk is free on their YouTube channel. So I'm going to go ahead and put a card up in the corner, and I'll put a link down in the description so that you can access that episode. It's a little bit more than an hour long and was a lot of fun to participate in. So I wanted to share that with you in case you wanted to check that out. The second guest speaking experience was on a podcast called Smarter, and that podcast link is down in the description below. Another hour and 15-minute long talk, but it's a conversation between myself and the 3 hosts of the show, and it's more strategic, and it's more like the motivations and philosophy and the thoughts behind all of our productivity systems and what tools we use and things like that, and why I use automations more so than the specific automations that I use and how they work. So if you're interested in a little bit more of the thoughts behind things and the motivations there, that is just came out yesterday, that podcast. So I will link to that for you to be able to listen to as well. If you are only an English speaker like myself, don't be confused when you first start listening to it, because it is a Swedish and Danish podcast. So the introduction is going to not be in English. Don't worry, you are in the right spot. It'll just take a second before it switches over to English, and then you can listen to the rest of the episode. In both of the talks that I gave, there were people who were certainly more along the lines of the intermediate and advanced users who typically watch my channel and get those types of videos that I normally produce. But there were several people who wanted to know how they could start. And I realized that I didn't have a lot of introduction content on my channel. So I wanted to take this video today and start building some of those introductory Keyboard Maestro macros. I think every one of these is something that I use every day. So I think you'll find it really helpful, and it might inspire you to automate a teeny tiny little pain point in your day, as opposed to some of the bigger, more elaborate macros that I've demonstrated in the past. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So the first macro I'm going to show you is typing out my clipboard. And this is super helpful for signing up for websites where you have to have, their secure fields and they want you to type your password 2 times. They're trying to help somebody, but you're not the person who needs that help because you have a password manager. So by just hitting, for me, I use semicolon, and then I use a typed string trigger that is just type, TYPE. And if I do that, it will paste my clipboard. So as you can see over here in drafts, I have, this is the podcast that I was on. So if you want to check out Smarter Tech on Twitter, that's their username. That was a podcast that I just released yesterday that partially inspired this video. because one of the hosts, Martin, has a subscription to Keyboard Maestro, but uses it just for their clipboard manager. So this is a great way to start using that clipboard feature for some of the other things, some other automations, instead of just pasting. This particular one will allow you to type it. So that's helpful in those like secure fields online that you're trying to complete. But also I find it helpful for pasting, essentially pasting, even though it is typing, but pasting my clipboard without all of the formatting that might come from it. So if I copy and paste something from the internet, a lot of times it'll come with a lot of extra, gunk. When I copy and paste it, it comes with the colors and the formatting and the backgrounds and all that other stuff that I don't want. There are plenty of programs that are specifically designed to clean that, but by just typing the clipboard, I find that solves the problem for me. So that's helpful when I'm copying and pasting from the internet and into Photoshop or Microsoft Teams or Final Cut Pro or other places where I need to put that text that don't have a ton of formatting clarity options built into that software. I can copy and paste the text, and then it'll be messy, or I can copy and then type my clipboard, and it almost always comes through exactly as I intended. So that one's super helpful. The typed string trigger for me, again, is semicolon TYPE. You could replace this with whatever you wanted, but in my the one-step action is just to insert text by typing, and the variable is the system clipboard. So whatever's on the clipboard gets typed in. So that one's super helpful. So in a similar vein, I'm not going to click on them because they kind of reveal my personal email and phone number, which I don't feel like doing right now. But I have some text expansions. This was super helpful when I was applying for jobs, when I was filling out the same information that was already on my resume, but I had to put it into the applicant tracking system too. And that was really a pain. So I just used Keyboard Maestro and had typed string triggers. This is for my personal website, themikeburke.com. You should check it out. If you don't know me through the website, if you just know me through my YouTube channel, I have over 100 blog posts that are over there about a lot of the same stuff that's on the channel. So you might find themikeburke.com helpful. But I had to type that out a whole bunch on all these different job applications. So instead of having to go copy and paste that, I could just type semicolon TMB, and that would type out my URL. And that's super helpful because a lot of those applicant tracking systems have issues with copying and pasting information too. So just by being able to type out the exact text, that's super helpful. I also have that not just for job applications, but tons of times throughout the day, I need to give somebody my email address or my phone number, either my work one or my personal one. My LinkedIn profile was another job one, but our job application use case. But just in general, there's a lot of information that I normally need to share with people quickly and easily, and I don't want to get it wrong. So you could use Text Expander for this type of functionality. And Text Expander is exactly this function, but Keyboard Maestro handles it just fine for me. So this is another type string trigger that I use a lot. And then another example of the type string trigger is I am super bad at spelling, and some of the words that I just cannot spell, no matter how hard I try, even as I am an adult with my master's degree, I am not going to spell the word appreciate correctly. So I put in here my most common misspelling of appreciate, and I have Keyboard Maestro just fix it for me. So it'll delete my misspelled word and type in the correctly spelled word. And I have one for the capital version and the lowercase version. And the same thing with the word receipt. It's another word that I always get wrong. So Keyboard Maestro is just watching me do that. And it's basically an automatic spell check for me. So I get the I and the E backwards because it's after C and English is dumb. And so Keyboard Maestro fixes that for me. So those are some other examples of real simple type string triggers that just happen in the background. I don't have to remember a key combination or anything like that. These misspelling ones happen just automatically. I just built in my ignorance into the automation to fix it. And then I can pull on them. I also have it for OmniFocus, where it fixes OmniFocus to capital O and capital F, so that I can get that correct. But there's a variety of different text expansions that are super simple and easy for Keyboard Maestro to handle for me. So I find that to be really useful. So this is another one that I use all the time, several times a day, and that's for window management. Keyboard Maestro has really powerful window management built into it. I've used in the past an application called Moom, which was another very powerful tool, and it had a couple features in there that Keyboard Maestro doesn't have, but I never used those features in Moom. And the fewer things I can have running on my computer, the better. So I just do all of my window management in Keyboard Maestro. So I have a separate folder for that, and you can see that I have a variety of different options, and I have mapped them all to my number pad. I have a Logitech MX Master 3 keyboard, I believe, and the mouse. So if I got that name wrong, I apologize, but I have the keyboard, and it has the extended number pad on it, which is super helpful. So what I have is every quadrant of the screen I've assigned to the corners of the keypad. So if I want the window that I'm currently using to be in the bottom left corner of my screen, I just hold the caps lock key, which I have remapped to all the modifier keys using Carabiner Elements. So I just hold down caps lock and hit the number 1, and that will move the window to the bottom left corner. And then if I want to put it in the top left corner, I'll hit the number 7 instead. So caps lock 7, and that pops it up to the top left. Top right is number 9, and bottom right is number 3. So I can use that to organize my windows for my Teams meeting and my drafts notes, and whatever. I can pop them into different corners and things like that. I also use a lot the left column and right column. So I can put Keyboard Maestro can go to the left half of my screen and take up the whole left half, or I can take up the whole right half. And I used to use the left and the right half with the arrow keys when I was using this a lot on my laptop. But now that I'm working from home and always on this computer, I will just keep everything on the number pad, but I do have it mapped to be able to go either the number pad, so I used the number 4 to be that left half, or the left arrow. Either one of those hotkeys will put whatever the current window is and take up the left 50% of the screen. I also have the quasi full screen mapped to number 8. So what I mean by quasi full screen is it doesn't go into full screen mode by like the same to be hitting that green button up there, which would take over everything. It just fills the space instead of hiding the menu bar up at the top and doing all that stuff. It just fills the screen, which is pretty uncommon for me to use, but it's there if I need it. And then I also have it to minimize a window, which is going to be the down arrow or number 2. So hold down the caps lock key and number 2, and that goes ahead, and I have the genie effect on, so it's just going to go ahead and pop that down into the taskbar. So if I come on over and open Keyboard Maestro back up, it comes right back up. So I have the minimizing the left dock, and the dock minimizes, so it just seems like it slid off the screen, but that's there. So this set of 8 different macros are all one step a piece. It's the move and resize the window, and that is really easy to set up. You'll be able to download this and all the other macros from this video at the link on down below in the description. That'll take you to my website where you can download that. But that is a super helpful macro that I'm using all the time, every day. popping things around. It's super easy. So the last macro I'm going to share with you is called Mute Mac at Night. And this is shared across all of my computers, even though my iMac is really the only computer I'm using these days now that I'm working from home. But at 10:30 every night, my Mac sets its system volume to 0%. I am not a night person, so this is always happening after I'm asleep. But because I am a morning person and I don't want to be waking people up, even though I'm up and working, I don't want a notification to come through or an error message to pop up and make, a harsh noise in the morning that's loud that other people can hear, because my office is right next to the bedrooms. So I have my Mac basically silence itself every night. So when I wake up in the morning and I start doing some work, I don't accidentally wake anybody up and cause anyone to have a rough start to their morning. So it's nice and easy to make sure that happens through this automation. There are tons of other things that you can do, and I use schedules like this for a couple other items, but this is a super simple one that you might find really helpful to set up as well. So I hope one of those 5 macros showed you something interesting that you might find helpful, whether you're trying to prevent your Mac from waking anyone up, or you're trying to fill out a ton of job applications, or just managing a bunch of windows on a computer screen these days. Keyboard Maestro can do extraordinarily powerful things, and hopefully I've shared on my channel in the past a couple examples of some really in-depth, multifaceted automations, but that's not to say that these one-step automations can't be super helpful and honestly be used so much more than those big complicated ones. So hopefully one of these macros gave you some inspiration for something that could help you with your day. If you want to download any of these macros, you can find a link in the description down below that'll take you to a post on my website where I'll have the macros available for download, as well as some screenshots to show you the macros that are built if you just want to build it yourself. As always, I hope this video helped you. And if it did, please consider liking, sharing, or subscribing. There will always be more content like this coming. You may have noticed that this video is a little bit less scripted than most of my videos are. So I'd love to hear from you down in the comments whether you liked this more conversational video or whether you prefer the more highly scripted and edited videos. I greatly appreciate your feedback on that or anything else that you think that I could benefit from.